are live at CPRS with good news in parks.
This is wonderful.
All right, you guys, this is a very serendipitous special edition of the show. Why is it special? Because we have torsos and arms. We're not just heads anymore. No, just kidding. Jody and myself and our panelists just all happen to be here at the California Park and Rec Society Connections. And so we are here from Sacramento, California.
Oh my gosh,
Crazy.
I'm so excited.
We are live
here
for this once-in-a-lifetime experience. We will hear from Stephanie Stevens, the Executive Director of CPRS in just a minute, but I just wanted to extend a very, very special thank you to her and her team for helping us put this show together. We could not have done it without them. To Game Time for sending the amazing backstage crew who is helping us put this show on. To Kent Callison, Charles Coleman, and their teams for all the work that they have done. You know, I'm like the Wizard of Oz. I can do this behind the Zoom curtain, but when it comes to live, this is a whole different ball game, people. So I wish you could see what's going on back there. It looks like a TV show. And especially thank you to our guests today, who you'll meet in just a moment, for taking the time out of their busy schedule here at the show to be with us and to talk to all of us today. Do not forget to ask questions in the Zoom question and answer. We will be able to facilitate those. I have my very own special Vanna White, Christine, backstage, who's going to write those questions down and give them to me, so we will be able to answer your questions. Please ask them. That's one of the most fun part of the show. And without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to my co-host, Jody Adams.
Thank you so much, Anne-Marie. Well, this is exciting, and of course, we're always going to push the envelope, as you know our personalities and the way we operate. But let me go ahead and introduce who we're going to have on the show today. We're going to have Steve Lawson, and he is Director of Parks and Recreation of Jurupa, California, Community Service District, East Bell, California. He also is the administrator of an accredited Council of Accreditation for Parks and Recreation Agencies. And we're really excited about hearing about this department and how they're going forward and operating. Steve also, his leadership tenure has also included City of Tempe City, California, but not only that, City of Glendora, California, and also City of Corona, California. So Steve is also a certified Parks and Recreation professional. So we're excited to welcome Steve on in just a moment. Very busy. Yeah. Sarah Reid, Community Service Director, City of Reedley, California, Community Service Department. Oh my gosh, we're so excited to have Sarah. We've been waiting to have Sarah on the show. Sarah has been working for the city for 19 years. She's also, in the last 2.5 years, been the lead director. And not only that, in 2020, she was a College of Health and Human Services award-winning, and also in 2017, she was the Kiwanis Distinguished Service Award winner. But from 2016 to 2018, Sarah served as Region 3 CPRS representatives. Sarah, can't wait to have you on the show, and we're going to get a lot of information from these directors. Phil Lewis, Administrator of Parks and Recreation for Cosumnes, California. Sorry about that to that community. Community Services Department. Phil's leadership tenure includes City of Rockland, California, Oregon City, Oregon, and also North Washoe County Parks and Recreation and City of Portland, Oregon. So we are really excited about having him with his extensive background of Parks and Recreation. But not only that, he's a graduate of the NRPA Director School and the Revenue Development School. Both of those are tough ones, you know. Folks, you've attended some of these, and they're not easy to go through and pass. And then he's a certified Parks and Recreation. So again, we're excited to have Phil on the show today.
Look who's over there.
Is
Look
Stephanie?
who's over there. I think, isn't that Stephanie Stevens?
Stephanie Stevens, come on in here and join us.
Hi.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. We're so excited to have you.
Have a seat.
Come on in. Oh my gosh.
Good morning. How are you?
Oh my gosh. It's so fun to be live.
It's so fun to be live. Thank you so much for being here and being a part of our 75th anniversary here at CPRS. Isn't it great?
It is great.
Thank you. Yes.
Well, you know, so tell us, what is your most favorite part so far about the show?
Well, obviously it's the people. You know, you think back to 2020. We were actually we've made it longer this year than we did in 2020 because we had to shut down in the middle of our conference thanks to the pandemic. So, just to be here, to be together, to be in each other's energy has just been absolutely remarkable.
Yeah.
So, it's got to be the people.
Awesome,
right?
Awesome.
Well, you've not only the people, you have brought in such a stellar group of speakers, but also, I mean, we've been around here for about 3 days, and oh my gosh, where's it gone? But you have been running.
Yes.
You're on a sprint and a journey.
Definitely.
But tell us what it feels like just making it through the pandemic, but you made it so easy for all of us.
Well, it helps with partners like you who are helping with education and connecting people. Of course, Zoom, although we're tired of Zoom, but thank you, Zoom. We stayed connected. And, in 2020, we really found people came together and really did cross boundaries out of sight of their agencies, within their counties and their special districts, and really came together and supported one another. And I think that's what CPRS is all about. That's what this profession is all about. We're all here to boost each other up and to be resilient with one another and learn from one another. So that's really what it is, and we're here just to help facilitate that.
Absolutely, yeah. And you are an amazing executive director. I
You're
must
very
say,
kind.
we
Thank
appreciate you.
Thank you.
And I have heard from so many people during the show how much this has meant to them to be in person again,
Right.
to see each other, to see our smiling faces
I know,
again.
exactly.
It's absolutely
right?
great.
It's just been fabulous.
Yeah.
So thank you guys for being here and being part of this. This is so exciting to do something fun and new and different as well.
Fun, yeah.
And who would have thought about doing this 2 years ago, right? And
Why
now
not?
Here we are doing it live on our shows.
There you go.
Well,
So
we have
thank
some
you.
great stories to tell,
Yes,
and
we
it's
do.
our time to keep getting the information out.
That's
You've got
right.
3 of your top departments on today.
I'm so excited for you
Can't
to meet
wait
them all.
to have them all
exactly.
on. But, Stephanie, one final question.
Yes.
What's ahead for CPRS? What do you see?
We have been doing a lot of great work this last year around justice, equity, diversity, and inclusion. We're calling that our Jedi Council. So we've got a lot of work ahead on that piece. We are creating a statewide membership engagement committee, a statewide education committee.
Wow.
We will be partnering with PlayCorps again to run another Healthy Play initiative, so we're very excited about that. If you can see all of
Wonderful.
our lovely playgrounds that we put together on the sign behind
Wow.
me there. So
No kidding.
I know, right?
That's a lot.
So many great things. 75 years we're celebrating this year, and now we get to start day one of the next 75 years. So we're very excited about that.
And you were on the back end and you're on the front end
That's
of it
right.
all.
Yes. After about a 30-hour nap and a nice foot rub, we're going to hit the ground running next week.
Oh, that is
There you go.
wonderful.
That's right.
Well, thank you for stopping by
Well,
today.
thank
we
you.
really
Thanks
appreciate
for having
it.
me, ladies. Enjoy
Oh, my
the rest
gosh.
of your day.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
You know who we have now?
Who?
Look who just walked in. Okay, now are you a team or is this how you all organize this? Jane Adams, come on in here
Yay.
with the American Academy. Thank you, Steph.
Hi, Jane.
Jane, welcome.
This is like the Today Show.
I know.
You're too
I'm so
kind.
excited.
This is just amazing. We have 2, one, the retired director of CPRS and just had the current, but not only that, Jane, you're the executive director of the American Parks and Recreation Academy and of administrators. And you have done some great work in your tenure, but you have been a great leader for many of us that are a member. I really want you to jump right in and tell us about the Academy.
Of course, I'd love to, and I have notes so I don't forget anything important.
Absolutely.
First of all, though, I do want to thank PlayCorps for sponsoring this Good News in Parks. I know it has been really rough for many professionals, and so this has just been a bright start. So
Thanks.
much appreciation. So the Academy, well, it's called the American Academy for Park and Recreation Administration. Big name, so we use the Academy. Was founded in 1980 by a group of around 25 very experienced parks and recreation professionals. Many of them had been NRPA presidents, and they wanted to stay involved. They wanted to continue to contribute to the advancement of this profession.
Absolutely.
And so they formed the Academy to continue to do that. So we have a very long history, but I want to highlight just a couple of programs. But before I do that, I should talk about our 4 purposes, right? So we want to advance knowledge about the administration of parks and recreation. We promote a broad understanding of parks and recreation to the public. Our 3rd one is to encourage scholarly efforts. And our 4th one is to conduct research and publish scholarly papers, and then to host seminars.
Absolutely.
So those are our 4 goals. So I can share more if we have time.
Please do.
Sure. Okay.
Please do.
But so the first thing I want to share is an exciting opportunity that's happening right now. The Academy sponsors what we call externships, and those young professionals between 35 and younger may apply for an externship with the Academy. What that means is the Academy will pay their NRPA conference registration to Phoenix.
Oh, excellent.
And then we will also give them up to $1,000 for travel expenses.
Wow,
Oh,
what
wow.
a wonderful
That is
opportunity.
I know.
fantastic.
It's very cool. So we have 4 externs opportunities this year, and 2 of them are the Ernest T. Atwell Diversity Scholarships.
Oh,
So we are particularly looking for young professionals from diverse backgrounds.
That's
Great.
awesome.
So we're very excited about
How
that.
do people sign up, or how do we hook young professionals in with that opportunity?
Great. I'm going to say this a lot. Visit aapra.org. So we have the extern program. The application is on our website, and it's an online application, and so it's pretty easy to apply.
Well, that's
Now,
fabulous.
the important part about that is that applications must be received by April 15th.
Okay.
After that, then we make decisions, and the externs are awarded.
Great.
So it's a
Great.
really good program, and I think the real value of the externship program is that at the NRPA conference, the extern is assigned an Academy member, and they spend the day with that Academy member, and they go to the same sessions, they go to the same meetings, and they're introduced to the professionals that the Academy member knows. So it is
Oh,
an
that's
amazing way
Great
to,
networking
to broaden their network.
Yeah.
And we've got externs that have been involved with the program. So we have buddies. So we have an extern is given a buddy to help them
Excellent.
kind of work through the program. And then we have, we have a long history of this extern program.
That's wonderful.
So yeah, it's pretty exciting. It's really exciting.
Excuse me.
And then we have another program for young professionals, which is called our mentoring program.
Okay.
And that one is through Zoom, our conference calls, through emails, and hopefully in-person opportunities, like now that conferences are coming back online,
Right, right.
And so this one, the mentorship lasts for 6 months. And this year we have paired 123 mentors with their mentee.
Wow. That's over 200, almost 250.
It's the biggest program we've ever had this
Wow.
year. And so there's no cost to participate in the mentorship program, which is the good news about it. And some of the mentors and mentees have continued to stay together for years.
That's
for years.
great.
Oh,
So
that's
the
fantastic.
applications for that has closed for 2022, but we will be starting the application process again next winter.
Okay.
Fantastic.
Wonderful.
And again, visit aapra.org.
That away.
All right, and the last thing I want to talk about is our National Gold Medal Award program.
Absolutely.
This is such a great program, and so it recognizes excellence in Parks and Recreation Administration. And this program is governed and administered by the Academy
Yes.
in close partnership with the National Recreation and Park Association, and proudly sponsored by Musco Lighting.
Great.
So this
Wonderful.
program has been around for quite a long time. I think a really critical part of this is that there's no membership requirement. So an agency does not have to be an NRPA member, they don't have to be an Academy member, they don't even have to be a member of their state affiliate. This is open to any public park and recreation agency in the country, as well as military installations worldwide.
Right.
And then every other year we do state parks. So this year
Excellent.
is a state park, not a state park year.
Okay.
So we have 5 population categories for the public agencies, and then the Armed Forces, Recreation are all in one main category. So we give, in each of the categories, there is a finalist is chosen. So 4 finalists is chosen in each population category.
Excellent.
And then our judges reconvene and they select a grand plaque recipient, and those are awarded at the NRP conference in Phoenix.
That's great.
So
Jane, this is wonderful.
I know, but a big question I really want to try to answer or share with everyone this morning is that the gold medal program is not, I repeat, is not about that shiny new aquatic facility. It is not about the sports field. It is about what are you doing with the resources that you have available to you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so we're looking for impact. We're looking for impact. So how do you demonstrate the results of your efforts? And these, so we ask questions about what are you doing to improve inclusivity and equity and access for all? How are you promoting health and wellness? How are you communicating with your decision makers, your business partners, your community members? How are you communicating with your own internally, with your own staff? So there's 10 essay questions that an agency has to answer.
Excellent.
And then we also ask for an update of your strategic plan, progress report on that, and your master plan.
Oh,
That's
fantastic.
great.
Now, the important part about this is that the deadline for that closes on March 25th.
Wow.
Okay, you still have time.
They still
right.
have time.
Yeah.
Everybody still has time.
And you do have the information, folks. You may not realize, but in your agency, you have the answers to these questions. Do not hesitate to apply for this award.
I know. It's a great way to kind of do an internal assessment of how well you're doing.
Absolutely.
And I would encourage you, if you want to apply for a gold medal, to bring in the brightest and the best people on your team. And you can get the essay questions off of, guess what, www.aapra.org.
That's what we need.
And you can look at the questions before you even apply, and you can have staff conversations about how do you think you would answer those questions.
Fantastic.
So it takes some time.
And probably
so.
some really good learning from people that have already gotten the award.
Absolutely.
Very good.
Yeah.
And a lot of the agencies who have received the finalist plaque, which is also quite an honor,
Sure.
as well as the grand plaque recipients, they talk about how this has really brought their team closer together,
Oh, yeah.
how it has elevated the value of their department to their community, and how much pride is generated by having this award.
That's wonderful.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Jane, it's been a pleasure to have you
I'm
on
so
today.
excited. Everybody's in Sacramento, and it's so wonderful to see
I
people
know,
like
you're
face to
home.
face.
I know.
Absolutely.
No mask. It's exciting.
Well, and you know, Jane, over the last few months, we've been having a lot of questions about gold medal and some of these programs. So again, we're in your backyard. So this is
Absolutely.
fantastic.
Well, thank you.
you
Wonderful
so
to
much.
see you.
Thank you. Good seeing you, Anne-Marie.
Yeah.
And Jody, thanks a lot.
From the heart.
Okay.
Yeah.
See you
Love
all
you.
later.
Absolutely.
Bye-bye.
Thanks,
All
Jane.
right, Jane, thank you. All right, great.
All right, let's bring our guests in.
Yes, and
Oh, hope that was down. Or you're all probably deaf
Sorry
right now.
about that.
We apologize for that.
it's live, and we're going to live it all. All right. Okay, well, we have just a couple of things I want to mention to you real quick. We have some good news, national news, real quick. So what we've got, folks, is March 24th from 1 to 2:15. This is so important for your departments with the Land and Water Conservation Funds. We have actually got organized some, it's called a roadmap to successful assessing the funds through Land and Water Conservation Funds, and this is going to be with NARSLO, who are the actual state agents that actually administer this fund for the National Parks and Recreation. Well, actually National Park Service. But this is going to be very important. There's going to be 3 of these, March 24th, then there'll be one in April and one in May. So go to playcore.com, go under at events to register for this free webinar. The second one is City Park Alliance is going to host a workshop for partnerships, and that's going to be on March 30th. Make sure you go to cityparkalliance.org to register for that. So a lot of resources, a lot of financing
Absolutely.
resources and partnerships. So
and
we
I
need
can tell you that webinar series, I mean, if you've ever if you've never applied for land and water conservation,
Oh.
it can be really confusing. And so I think that's going to be a great resource for people to be able to work through that and figure out how to get those funds.
And you know, Anne-Marie, you hit it. We're here to help.
That's right.
That's what this
It's all
show's
about. Good news.
It is.
It's good news.
It's a show by us, for us.
Yes. So just so that you guys know, since we introduced our panel earlier, sitting closest to Jody here, we have Steve. Sarah is in the, I'm sorry, Phil. Sorry about
quite
that.
all right.
Sarah is in the middle, and that's Steve on the end there.
All right.
Let's do this.
Okay, here we go. And these are the questions from you. Let's remind you, when you fill out that survey, it's critical for us. That's where we stay relevant. That's where we get our questions.
Yeah.
So make sure and keep filling out those great surveys for the show. Today's topic has been an important and ongoing topic during the pandemic, and we want to address it now with our audience. What programs and events are producing revenues for your department? And Steve, let's start with you, because
Yes.
you have a tremendous department that does a lot.
Yes, we do. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me today.
Yeah.
Yeah, so as a community services district, we differ from cities, counties, and townships and so forth in that we don't receive general fund monies to help subsidize our recreation and community services programs. Our park maintenance side of things, we do receive tax assessments to handle that, but we don't receive that on the recreation community services side. So it's a challenge to our team to be innovative, to be creative, to ensure that we can, at the end of the fiscal year, balance our budget with 100% cost recovery.
Wow.
So that's a challenge. So we're constantly trying to, like I said, to find innovative ways to raise revenues. In looking at our current situation, there's 3 program areas that I feel that we're doing really well in generating revenue. The first is our, it's called Kid Zone. It's a before and after school program, for a child care program, and we offer it at 5 different elementary schools within our district.
Yeah.
And right now we're at a maximum of about 50 participants due to COVID and whatnot. Pre-COVID, we're at over 100 per site. So the team's still doing an excellent job, filling it, and there's still that need. It's just some staffing challenges, is getting more staff, I'm sure, as everyone's experiencing, and just complying with the county regulations for COVID, which thankfully are starting to lessen a little bit. So we're going to incrementally increase that max or the participation. Our second revenue generating program that I'm really happy about right now is our contract class program. We offer over 75 different contract classes currently, and through a revenue sharing agreement with our contract instructors, usually a 70-30 or 60-40 split, we've been able to generate a lot of revenue for the last year and a half. Even during the pandemic, we were creative and doing outdoor programming, and right now it just seems to be the community is wanting to get back to some normalcy and get involved in anything from cooking to exercise to gaming. So really, really happy about that. And then finally, the last revenue generating program that we're real pleased with right now is our field reservations. So we have 15 parks, over 15 ball fields, a lot of open turf area, and the travel ball teams, youth soccer, club teams are just coming out of the woodwork to reserve. So we allow them to do so as long as it doesn't affect we call our big 3, AYS, or Empire Soccer, which is like AYSO, Little League, and then girls softball. So we're fortunate. The team's working really hard to continue that revenue stream and just trying to be as creative as possible.
Well, thank you for sharing the percentages.
Of course.
Because we get questions all the time. How are those partnerships or those contracts or anything? Sure. How do those percentages really look?
Sure.
And you just answered that. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Sarah, your turn. Take it away.
Right, yes. So I work for a city municipality. So of course our revenue generators are our rentals and then our program fees. And so 3 stood out to me as being consistent through just our restrictive times and then also moving into the future. So I kind of echo what Steve says, and that's our contracted classes. Our offices are located at the community center, so it's very easy for us to fill up that space by hiring an instructor who does a specialty. And being in a small town, it also is a benefit to our residents that they don't have to go out of our boundaries, go to the larger cities, because those specialty items are coming to us. And we offer them on a consistent basis, so it's just a good revenue stream. The second one is our aquatics program. We're one of the only cities that has year-round programming.
Wow.
So even in 39 degrees, we still have those die-hard water aerobics ladies. So that's an instructor course, and gentlemen, of course. So we have a strong instructor who has a good following. We offer lap swim. So during times that the other facilities are closed, people are coming to us. Through our joint use, it's actually a school district pool, so it's great for us. We pay a fee, but then we're the community's way to get into this beautiful facility. The last one is our senior programming. Since the pandemic, we have had to close our lunch program, and so we've really taken the opportunity to do other things in that space. And so we have been offering programs that we haven't done in the past for seniors, and we put fees to those to cover our cost, right? And so that has just been a phenomenal revenue generator for us because there's so much enthusiasm behind the seniors coming out and doing this stuff that we're just trying a lot of new things. Another thing that I think really helps us is at the end of every program, we do a finance sheet. So we know what were our expenditures, what were our revenue, and then every year we're evaluating our fees. So we have incrementally been increasing those along the way, looking at what the costs are that it takes to run those. And one of the big drivers over the last few years was minimum wage, right? The majority of our employees receive the minimum wage. So I think by evaluating our fees every year, knowing what it's costing us to do stuff, it just keeps helping those revenues move forward.
Excellent. You know, I'm glad you addressed the minimum wage because that has affected departments across the country. But you know what? The workforce has been a little challenge, and we all know that, hasn't it? So we have addressed that on some shows, but we know that, and you know, minimum wage, it probably, we can be a leader in some of that. It's tough on us, but we can be a leader, especially with our part-time seasonal.
That is so smart to reevaluate every single year because you can see how with changing costs they could just get away from you, and then all of a sudden you think you're earning money because you're charging, you know, but you're not even covering costs. So that's a really smart idea.
Exactly.
And we like to do those little increment increases.
Sure,
because
of course,
if you
rather
wait,
than a big,
then there's a lot of light brought to that, right?
Yeah, very
smart. All right, Phil, you finish us up on this one.
I appreciate the conversations that have been had. Very similarly, when COVID first hit, we moved as many things as possible outdoors, tried to be creative and really utilize our partnerships. You know, during the middle of pandemics, not a great time to start making connections with partners. And so luckily, So luckily, we have a really strong base of support both in our community, our nonprofits, our business community, as well as our governmental agencies, our school district MOU. You know, they were forced to close down, and a lot of the groups that they worked with regularly, they were not able to work with, but due to our strong relationship and the MOU that we had in place, we were able to continue to do before and after school care, make sure that we were reaching out to the community. We did move a lot of our classes and activities outdoors. You know, some of the things that we've continued to be able to do, you know, moving fitness classes outdoors. We do a, you know, comedy night under the stars event, which is amazing, and it is seen, you know, capacity at some of the events, and so we've upped that for this next year, doing even more events. Any community partnerships that we're able to reach out to and continue to do, particularly outdoors. You know, we try to, you know, one of our staff really, who I'll be talking about a little bit later today, we have many conversations around how do you get to a yes? You know, how do you move, you know, what you're trying to do forward to the betterment of the community. You know, revenue generating is very important, but also community service is important. You want to be able to make sure that you're making those connections. And so our sports activities, as much as we're able to move outside and continue to be outside, has really done extremely well, and we're continuing to grow that program. Aquatics as well, due to some of the restrictions that were in place, and having outdoor aquatic facilities, being able to continue with that and continue to grow.
Oh, wonderful.
And, you know, trying to balance, again, unfortunately, some of the recruitment issues that a lot of the agencies are seeing and the business community at large. So it's always a balance.
Well, I tell you, we've gotten some great tips on this one. You know, this was a big question, is how do we move forward and survive, and how do we do the right thing but still not outprice so that the general public can engage in our departments.
Yeah.
So great job, you guys. Thank you so much. And I think we're ready for our first poll question.
Let's do it. Are you guys
Let's
ready
go
for a
it.
poll question? All right, let's do this. We have Jesse, our poll rock star today, that's going to launch that for you. So here's our first question. And remember that, we come up with these questions honestly to get ideas. It may not seem like it. It may seem unrelated, but honestly, all the show ideas that we have come from poll questions and survey
Absolutely.
answers. So here's our first one. We would like to know what percentage of your budget is raised from department programs and event-generated revenues. Is it 0 to 10%, 11 to 20%, 21 to 30%, 31 to 40%, or more than 40%? So pick the answer that applies best to you there. And I got to say, it's so interesting listening to the panel today. We started this whole show because when we talked to a lot of directors, they were saying, I feel disconnected. Like I'm going through all this stuff. I'm the only one going through this stuff, and listening to you guys, it's just, we keep hearing that, I have a similar story, and that's what the show is really all about, is to get people together and so that they know you're not in this alone and everybody's kind of going through the same thing. So.
Well, what's great too, Anne-Marie, it is so critical that it's relevant and it's real time.
Absolutely.
So that's critical about the show.
Absolutely.
And that's why we did start it, like you said. They felt disconnected, but now we're really focusing in on that relevancy.
We are.
And essential service, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to keep saying that to everybody. We are essential.
That's
and
right.
we all know that.
Okay, so let's take a look. We're going to give you guys 3, 2, 1, and we'll end that poll. And let's see what our top answer is. We'll share that out with you. Wow,
right.
21 to 30%, right in the middle there. And interesting how it looks like about the same, say 0 to 10, as say more than 40, and about the same amount, say 11 to 20, as the ones that said 31 to 40%. But that 21 to 30% seems to be the biggest answer. So thank you so much. We'll have another poll question in just a minute. Jody, I'm going to turn it back to you.
Thank you, dear. All right, let's move to question 2. We all know that park systems have been definitely increased in its usage, but also for outdoor facilities, trails, and open space. With that said, talk about your outdoor programming for inclusion. And Sarah, we're going to start with you.
Yes, thank you, Jody. So I really thought about this question and the role that our parks played through all of this. And I'm proud of us as staff because a few years ago, we really put an emphasis on our CIP, our capital improvement plan.
Oh, yeah.
Just really looking at our existing infrastructures and planning for budget purposes, but then also when grant opportunities came available, what can we change out in these spaces to keep modernizing them and making them user-friendly for our public. So we had already started this trend. So when things got shut down and those park spaces become so valuable, they were really a great place to gather. We're a community made up of 78% Hispanic. Many of those are migrant families. We have a lot of apartments, so a lot of families that just don't have backyards, right, that they can just go to.
Yeah.
And so these park spaces for them serve their family gatherings, their parties, their ability to just go outside and run. So it's our job to make sure that those are good, usable, functioning spaces. Through these improvements or renovations that we've done in these different existing parks, it also gives us an opportunity to deal with our ADA stuff. Because a lot of these parks are older and the city does have a transition plan. So as we do things, that's also looked at. The CIP is looked at, so you can tell where I'm going, right? We have this roadmap that helps guide us. Another thing, and I think Phil alluded to this, was we realized how valuable these spaces are, not just for the residents, but for our programs. Like this was kind of untapped area, so being able to move the exercise classes out there, your paint classes, it really just gave us more, and I think people are a little more tolerant of the elements now and appreciate sitting under a tree more so than maybe we did before. So parks to us are very important, and I think that we have continued to do a good job just keeping a pulse on them and continuing to upgrade them.
Sarah, this whole delineation of pandemic has really had us really recalculate and reboot our systems. I think we all know that.
Yeah.
And it's been a good gut check.
It has.
And what you're describing is that gut check and making sure that we go and check all the plans, but that we do go forward. And a little bit different way at times. You know, we may recalibrate what we really put in that CIP, or we need to reevaluate it and maybe put in something else that we didn't think about from the pandemic. All right, Phil, we're going to hand it over to you.
I appreciate that. I would echo a lot of the same sentiment. You know, the first and kind of the base piece that you always try to hit is that you need welcoming, inviting spaces where people know that they can go and recreate, enjoy time with family, connect with community. And so that's really, you know, the base point for us and ties to our core values as an agency. Diversity, equity, and access is one of our 5 core values, and
Wonderful.
with that, we tie that into everything from you know, developing the CIP to the construction process to the outreach and the programming and the staff that we hire, and we really want to make sure that that is, you know, true to everything that we do, and that members of the community understand the work that we do, and that this is a space for them. And so we do that through our social media, we do that through our connections with communities and nonprofits. You know, we do a really great job, well, I should say my staff and my team do a really great job.
We know it takes a village.
Of connecting with community and really making sure they understand that we're here, what we do. I think the pandemic showed just how valuable, you know, we are as, you know, Parks and Recreation and the work that we're doing in the community. And so we've used that, you know, one of the real bright spots of the pandemic. We've used that to our advantage and really tried to, you know, continue to push the conversation around the things that we do and how we can support, you know, the quality of life issues that community members are looking to enjoy in their community. And so we've moved a lot of things outdoors. We've continued to do a lot of conservation types of programming, so tying it into our camps, our after-school programs. We do a walk with the rangers, so our park rangers are out in the community, and we'll hand out, you know, little sticker badges for everyone who's participating, and talk about, you know, not only our open spaces, but also even our developed parks that have natural assets that to the person that may be just, you know, walking by may not appreciate and see the true value of what we do and what that space is. So every way that we can help make those connections, we're trying to make those connections.
Well, you mentioned a park ranger, you know, this program that you're doing. This is major because our park rangers are ambassadors. I remember having 7 park rangers out at any time with our system, and it was so great to hear them talk to children and engage them into our park system and explain about, hey, this is how we need to take care of our parks, because they're your citizens, and they're going to grow up and they're going to take care of and participate in those parks. So
Future
park rangers, I'll tell you what, you couldn't have picked a better group to do that. So thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Steve, take us home on this one.
Yes, thank you. So we're fortunate in our district to have over 5 miles of trails within our, within our district. So one of the things that we really set out to do, especially after the pandemic, was to, you know, we talked about the outdoor programming, and we really wanted to tie in use of that trail. It runs across the entire district. And so we're really proud that that entire trail is ADA accessible. It's accessible by walking, by bicycle, equestrian. Our area where we're located, horses and that type of thing is a big deal. So we're really, really proud of that. It's free to use. So one of the things, like I mentioned when the pandemic hit, was we partnered with a local nonprofit organization called Move Through Motivation, and they offer exercise, and really the goal is just get people out to exercise. So we partnered with them to offer those types of services free of charge for the community. It's a drop-in on the weekends, and actually during the pandemic it was through the week, just to get people out walking. And again, it was free, so we're happy to do that for our community. Another thing that we did that I was really proud of, this was actually before I got there, but when I came on board, we continued to implement it, was especially in the heart of the pandemic when kids were behind the computers all day, we did a recess in the park. where they came out and our staff for about an hour just did fun and games for the kids, and it was a very nominal
That
fee.
is
Yeah.
wonderful.
Yeah, it was a great program. I was super proud of the team hearing about that, and nominal fee, but it was a big hit. A lot of kids just coming out, parents wanting to get them out of the house, right, and just having a good time.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was a win-win for
Everyone's
sure.
getting crazy.
Everyone won on that one.
Win-win for sure. Yeah. So, but as Phil and both Sarah said, we're working constantly now at what can we do outdoors.
Yeah.
Our contract classes. We have painting in the park now for our seniors and some of our other residents. So, I think this pandemic brought up the importance of what we do,
Yes.
and we're just building off that. And I think even post-pandemic, hopefully that's sooner than later, we'll still continue to do those programs. So yeah, we're constantly having that discussion as a team. What can we do? Free of charge, what can we do, a nominal fee? Sometimes you have to charge for an event, or a service,
Absolutely.
but we try to be as creative as possible, and like I said, super proud of the team for being creative and innovative. And some of my favorite meetings with the team is when we have those brainstorming sessions of what can we do,
kidding.
and to hear everyone just throw ideas out and we implement them is really neat. So yeah, just proud of the team and how our community has also given us feedback on those types of programs and what we can do. So it's listening to them and just working together.
Well, it just demonstrates these three departments are some of the best in the country, and the bottom line is it's Parks for All.
Yeah.
It's Parks for All, engagement from the local level on up, and really, it's the citizens' parks. We all know that, right?
Yep.
I mean, we're just there to minister
Absolutely.
and help it along and do the right thing, but really it's our citizens' parks.
Yep.
Thank you so much for sharing, all of you. All right, Anne-Marie,
All right,
we've
you
got
guys
another
ready?
poll question.
We do. We have our second poll question. We'll go ahead and launch that. All right, so we talked a little bit about percentages. Let's we'd like to take a pulse on how your department is doing on programming and event generated revenues in regards to the pandemic. So have they returned to pre-pandemic levels? Yes, they're the same. Yes, we're exceeding pre-pandemic, or no, we're not quite there yet. So really easy one to answer. Just 3 questions there. And while you guys are voting, Jody, I keep thinking about, I've said this before, but it is so interesting to me. We have people that watch the show, not just from Park and Rec, but from other industries too,
That's
that
right.
are interested in learning from you guys. And, one of the things that we keep seeing on people's polls and on the surveys that they fill out is people are getting a real understanding of what you guys do and what parks do.
Yes.
And, I think that for most people, they think of the park as the space, right? The park is the green space. They don't think of all the work that goes into that and all the programming that you guys are doing, and especially during the pandemic, when we had parks stepping up to make sure that seniors had activities so that they weren't homebound, and kids who all of a sudden aren't going to school and aren't getting those meals that are associated with school are getting
That's
those
right.
meals. We've had parks that have done food drives and they're feeding kids and they're doing all these things, and we keep hearing, wow, I had no idea that all the things that parks do. It's incredible. So love being able to bring that knowledge to everybody. Because
Well, what's so major about it, if you think about it, and we've mentioned this,
Yeah.
is the 2 entities that affect children and families the most.
Yes.
People by survey and by research are schools and parks.
Yeah.
People don't realize we're the 2 engagement centers.
That's
we're
right.
the 2 gathering safe havens for
That's
our
right.
children.
Essential
And
services.
That's right. And we're going to keep
Essential services.
saying that,
Parks are essential
everyone.
services. That's right, absolutely. So, okay, we've given you some time. Let's go ahead and end that poll in 3, 2, 1, and let's take a look at the answers here.
Right.
Okay, well, that's not unexpected. No, we have not reached pre-pandemic levels. Honestly, we're just kind of coming out of it. Really interesting to see, though, that 25% of you are exceeding pre-pandemic as opposed to 17% who are just about the same. So that's pretty exciting news.
Oh, my gosh,
But
yes.
yeah, 58% have not reached those levels yet, and that's really not a surprise. So, all right, Jody, let's take it back to you and do that third question.
Okay, here we go. Okay, panelists. God, I feel like I'm running a game show or something here,
We need a buzzer.
Well, you know what? We're all winners, and we're going to be winners, and our communities are winners. But you know what? Here we go. Question number 3. We have discussed programming for inclusive programs and events that have generated revenues for your department. Now, let's talk about how these programs and events are part of your economic development of your community as a whole, because we are definitely a major element of economic development. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it to you, Phil. It's your turn to go first. Here we go.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. So similar to Steve, the Cosumnes CSD is a special district.
Yes.
So we are a standalone government agency. We work very closely with the city of Elk Grove, which is within the footprint of our service area, their economic development team. Additionally, we work very closely with our DMO, Destination Marketing Organization, Explore Elk Grove. Actually sit on the board of directors, and we talk a lot about the value of parks and recreation, both in kind of the public quality of life space, but also the the recruitment of business, the retention of business. We work really closely on events and ecotourism and all of those things that really are core to the values and the things that we do in parks and recreation. Obviously, sporting and sports tourism is a big business for us. And so, recruitment of tournaments and getting people to come and stay and spend money within the footprint of our service area is core to what we do, and to continue to build, a place where people want to live and that businesses will want to relocate. And so we have a lot of conversations with our community partners around, how can we do better? What are the next steps? How we can be strategic in the way that we're outreaching and doing the work that we're doing, and how we can be a partner and what that looks like. And so we are very fortunate to have great community partners, both governmentally as well as in the nonprofit and business community.
Excellent. And just like, and many of you do sit on those type of special boards that do feed into the economic development, but you need to be at the table. If you're not at the table, you need to be at the table. So listen to Phil's advice here. He's in the midst of it. All right, Steve, let's turn it to you.
Yeah, so at JCSD, our entire district, we provide water, sewer, and parks and recreation. So that's a little unique. But our entire district serves the cities of Jurupa Valley and Eastvale. But our park district serves primarily the city of Eastvale. So when we look at the economic development, we do have a close relationship with the city and their economic development team. But I'll just give an example of an event that we have that I really think drives economic activity within Eastvale. So we have a special event offered. It's called Picnic in the Park. We've been offering it for several years. It's now to the point, it's basically a 3-day carnival, if you will, where I think over a 3-day period, I didn't experience it last year because we didn't have it because of the pandemic, but pre-pandemic, probably over a 3-day period, 20 to 25,000 people in a park. I mean, it is a monster event.
That's
amazing.
And
that is great.
I've seen pictures, and the pictures just blow me away. And so we're actually planning for that. It's held the week before 4th of July every year. But at this, just taking that event for example, we have it's become a regional attraction. So you have people coming from out of our city to come in. They're buying gas. They're buying food maybe after the event. They're also helping the vendors in the special event area to small local businesses. So they're driving the economic stimulus that way, if you will. But yeah, it's just it not only that, I think it puts our city, our district on the map. People come in and say, yeah, Eastvale has this wonderful event. I mean, our team's done an outstanding job in the past marketing it to the point now where it's like almost too big. You hear Picnic in the Park, you figure some families that know this is a monster event.
There's only so much ground space.
Exactly.
And crowd movement.
Exactly. It's a good problem to have. In fact, we're working through that now. Is it getting too big for this park? Do we need to look at other areas? So everything's on the table. But it's just a prime example of, like I said, people coming into the city, patronizing the restaurants, whatever it may be. Hopefully they're, purchasing stuff within the event, getting gas, all that stuff. So it really drives the development. So I was just going to give an example of that. But a lot of what we do on a daily basis helps that we have a lot of partnerships with the Chamber of Commerce and a lot of businesses there to provide services. And we just recently created a Community Partners Committee, which is comprised of nonprofits and businesses within the over 25 in the community. So we're getting everyone to the table and talking about how we can help better serve our residents, which helps drive the economy as well. So yeah, it's very unique, but I think that event is a good example of what we do and how it helps the city overall.
That's great.
You know, we run so many stadiums and we run so many events in our park systems, and we're kind of the community gatherer and organizer in so many ways. I remember running a Firefall that was 75,000 people, and I really didn't want to think about it too long as director of parks, because you're like, wow, that's a lot of people in a park space.
But Steve brings up such a great point, too, because think about how restaurants have suffered so much during the pandemic and so many businesses. And so being able to bring those people all together, and it helps those businesses as well.
Absolutely.
So that's really exciting.
It is exciting. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
All right, Sarah.
All right.
Finish up.
I'm gonna sound like the broken record here, but the partnerships.
That's
right?
okay.
If you're not sitting at the table with the big players in town, and for us, that's our school district, who does everything that's great for their students. Our chamber, who are there for the businesses. The city, who are there for the public. All of us have this common vision and do a lot of partnered events to extend our services beyond what we could just do as a community services department. A benefit for being in a small town are the department heads are meeting on a regular basis. We do a lot of joint things with our police department.
Oh, yes.
Community development, we have a meeting once a week to talk about that. So we all come together, and that just makes us a stronger team. And I feel one of the benefits of being a smaller department is you're able to do that kind of stuff. There's also a couple of jewels in Reedley. So we have a junior college with dorms.
Wonderful.
So that's a unique thing for us. We also have a hospital. And then community services oversees our airport, municipal airport. So I actually serve as the airport manager. Wow. So all of those things, the small
I know,
town,
I read this in her bio, and she's running airport, okay? Folks, we can do just about anything, okay? Give us a challenge, and we will make it happen. Back to you.
And so all of those things are little jewels that we really highlight, right? Because that makes us unique and special. I would be remiss if I didn't just praise our council and our boards. They really support Parks and Rec, and that's important.
Oh,
If you
yes,
don't have
absolutely.
the support, you can't do anything. And they have given us a well-balanced community. We have the intervention, we know that's important, but we also have the Parks and Rec, and I think that just makes us stronger and more appeasing to people that are coming in to look. Yes, we have safety under control, but look at these beautiful parks.
Absolutely.
Because I know as a mother, when we would take our kids out of town, it's like, where's the nearest park, right? These kids need to get out and run.
Exactly.
And that's important for families. So.
Well, I just have to make this comment. Parks directors, a lot of parks directors are selected to basically be assistant city or deputy city managers. Why? It's because of the diversity of what we work with and deal with. So I want to compliment you all, because you could run a huge amount of multiplicities of departments and what we deal with every day, and we know that. But I got to tell you, hand it to you, 3 top departments could not be better to have on the show to answer that economic development question.
Absolutely.
Thank you all. Oh my gosh, we are at our favorite time.
It's our favorite time. We absolutely love this. So you guys know, at every show we ask our guests to recognize somebody in their department who has been instrumental in helping with whatever needs done. There's always a wonderful opportunity here to recognize a standout. And so we call this Good News in Parks, about great people. Thank you to Playcore and Game Time for sponsoring this, because it's honestly one of our favorite things of the show. It's so heartfelt.
Absolutely.
So, Sarah, we're going to let you get started.
Oh, yay.
Tell us about Jody.
Okay. So when I was asked this question, I think about as a mom when people ask me, who's your favorite kid, right? It's like, oh my gosh, how do I choose?
Right.
And I've been blessed with just an amazing team and individuals that just have different strengths, right? And we all support each other. But really thinking back to the last 2 years, and just in my heart, the employee who has really had to be creative and overcome boundaries would be our senior coordinator. coordinator, Jody Botello. And so I hired her because of her personality, her love for the seniors, her relationship with them. And she had started in November and was really just starting to get her rhythm, and then things shut down, right? Starting to build those relationships. And so figuring out what the role is for a senior coordinator during this time, she really became the counselor. Our senior line, she was calling the seniors, she was checking in on them. She partnered with a church and was taking goodie bags to them. She became our actress on Facebook Live.
Oh my God.
Yes, and she was doing cooking classes. She would drop off the ingredients. All of our ceremonies turned into virtual. We really took the attitude, instead of counseling things, how do we modify things? And so we did a lot of drive-through events. She did bingo outside. Just really continued to foster and be a support to the seniors, foster the relationships. Now that we're open again, our participation is more than we've seen, right?
Oh, wow.
And I think a lot of that, I know it is, contributed to just the effort she put in, figuring out what her role was, how could that look different, continue her strength, which is the relationship piece, and just really thrive as we open back up. So I appreciate Jody and just the creativity and really the braveness that came with this. I mean, being live, we have the jitters, right? But to do this on a regular basis, and it was really cute. It touched my heart. You'd see the seniors talking through Facebook Live, you know what I mean? Like they're talking to each other, right? And so anyways, I appreciate Jody.
What a great connection. That is so cool. Is she here today?
She is here today.
Awesome.
She's sitting
Well,
over there.
Jody, let's give her a hand.
All right.
She's a little, okay, I'm going to tear up now.
I
She's tearing up a little bit.
And you know how many people talk about senior programming that give us information about that? And this is a perfect example of who to contact
to
for
get more
that
information.
senior Oh my gosh, that's great.
That is a talent, to make those seniors feel connected and welcome, especially when they're not always, familiar with the electronic tools that we've all had to learn to rely on, and they're just kind of going, wait, what?
Oh, man.
That's totally awesome. Yeah. All right, Phil, you're next. Tell us about Elizabeth.
Excellent. Well, again, similarly, it's very difficult. We have a great team to select just one individual, but the person that I did select is Elizabeth Rohn, who works in our Equitable Partnership team. She is a recreation coordinator, but was recently selected to fill an interim role as a recreation supervisor for that division. And so what the Equitable Partnership team does is they make connections with the business community, with nonprofit communities. They are really an ambassador of everything that we do, both internally, connecting all the pieces, as well as externally, making sure that folks know that we're there and how can we partner and how can we get to a yes? How can we make sure that we're providing services for our community members, that we're doing that outreach to community members that are underserved and make sure that they are connected. And she does it all with a smile, and she works evenings and mornings and weekends, and every conversation that I have with her, I get energized about the work that we're doing and know that we're that much better because she is representing what we're doing out in the community. Some of the things that she's really tied closely to is working with our indigenous peoples, making sure that their voice is represented in the things that we're doing, that we are stewards of the land to which has always been here, to which they're stewards of, and we want to make sure that we're making those connections and to make sure that it's talked about, and then folks know that the Parks and Recreation system is a place for everyone. We worked very closely when the pandemic hit to have our outdoor spaces as utilized as possible, and so she worked with our local Muslim communities to have services outdoor in our parks. She works with our Pacific Islander communities to have cultural events and to have them come in and provide the services that they can provide, which are through our recreation programming. So teaching dance classes, teaching historical classes on the value of their culture in the community. And so all of that goes through that small group of folks, and Elizabeth is just a catalyst for that work. And so I'm so excited for what we will accomplish, and so thankful that we have her on our team.
That's awesome. Is she here today by chance?
She is, yes.
Okay, yay.
All right.
right, Steve, your turn. Tell us about Travis.
Yes, so Travis doesn't know he's actually being recognized this afternoon, but he is here. But first and foremost, much like the other panelists said, at first I was like, I'm going to have the whole team. I was like, no, we got to, because that's what we're about, the team, right? It's like, okay, I got to find someone, and it was difficult to do so because we have so many outstanding team members. But Travis is our park superintendent, and first and foremost, I recognize him because he has to put up with me on a daily basis. He does an excellent job. He's worked his way up through our department, started as a foreman, went to supervisor, and then recently became our park superintendent. So he's responsible for overseeing the maintenance of 15 parks, 3 facilities. We have a 30,000 square foot community center. We just opened a new, it's called the Desi House, is the childhood home of Desi Arnaz. So he served as a project manager for that. So he's really become a jack of all trades. And I know coming up through the maintenance field, having all that experience, but now coming to the administrative side of things can be a little bit of a challenge, especially when he's working with me. But he's done a heck of a job. And the thing I really admire most about Travis is whatever I ask for him to do, or anyone in the district, he'll do it. He's a team guy. Nothing's above him or below him. It's whatever we need to do, and that's kind of the culture we're trying to create. And he's done a heck of a job with our team, our maintenance staff. We have about 20 maintenance staff that he's responsible for managing, and they all look up to him and they all admire him. And I envy that. And it's like, wow, I want my staff to look at me that way, because they'll do anything for him. So can't say enough good things about Travis. He's just a team guy to the end. Fun to be around, always smiling. A lot of energy, so just someone you love to work with. So
That's
he is
awesome.
here today.
And I know Travis is here today. Let's give a hand. Hey, Travis!
He's probably saying, why are they cheering for me? But I'm sure that, no, he's awesome. So
All right, that's great. Do we have any audience questions at all, or no? All right, Jody, I think you had a question for our team.
I do.
Yeah.
And, we're human. With that said, how are you all staying motivated, not only to drive through the pandemic, but to continue with the pandemic? But how are you motivating yourself and your staff, and any one of you? Just chime in.
I think it's a challenge, right? That's part of what we do, is overcoming challenges, looking at things differently, pushing reset, and being successful at it just continues to drive you, right? As you try something and it works, you're like, well, now I want to do something else, and wow, we can do this, and it's working. And so I think some of it was just continuing to push forward, right? Mm-hmm. And there were times where you're like a little overwhelmed, and you're, okay, are we heading in the right path? Yeah, we are, and you need that kind of reassurance. But for me, it was really just the drive to continue to serve the community. And what did that look like for us, and just opening our minds to doing it differently, but still doing it.
Very well. It's just good to hear, because it's a reality that we've all lived with. But anybody else?
I would say my staff have really been a motivation for me. When the pandemic hit, we are thankfully, through our board of directors and our general manager, made a decision not to cut any full-time positions.
Oh, wonderful.
So no matter what we did, that was going to be, the rock. That was going to be where we stood. And so, looking at how we continue to provide services, relocating people into different areas where we were not able to generate revenue in certain areas, but our golf course, as an example, exploded. We made, probably 40-50% above what we were anticipating to make in that first year. And so we had, coordinators, we had admin assistants that were moving into different roles. We did a little bit of a hiring freeze in order to make sure that, if we had a position that needed to be filled, we filled it internally first, again, to make sure that we took care of our people, who take care of us and take care of the community. And so the energy and the commitment that they continue to have throughout the process was amazing. And, they, hey, what do you need me to do? Great, I can do that. I will be out on the pool deck lifeguarding. We had folks that got lifeguard certifications that did not have them before the pandemic, just so that we could save money as a district, which I mean is absolutely amazing. And so that energy and that commitment that they have to the work that they're doing is really exciting to me. And how can I not do my part, and I don't want to let them down in any of the work that we're doing. And so that's really been a true driver for me.
Total team effort.
Oh, completely.
Total team effort. And you learn people can do amazing things.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they just need an opportunity.
Yeah.
And really the pandemic pushed us into those new opportunities. Steve, what do you think?
So real quick, my team had a little extra challenge too during the pandemic, because I came on board in September of 2020. So not only were they dealing with the pandemic and all the stressors and everything that comes along with, but now they have new leadership coming in. And so it was really evident early on, and it was a challenge because we wanted to make sure that we're making strides with programming and services, but at the same time, I'm trying to build those relationships with the team. They're trying to learn my style and vice versa. So
interesting.
Really tried to keep an extra eye on how to motivate staff, making sure that they're achieving that work-life balance everyone talks about. And we just, it's challenging, like both have said. But for me, it was just, at the end of the day, we're here to serve the community. But if we don't take care of the people, we're not able to serve the community. So we had our GM, general manager of our district, is very much a people person, very much puts an emphasis on family and taking care of the team. And I was fortunate to come from an organization, City of Temple City, when I moved, who did a very good job taking care of the staff in the beginning stages of the pandemic until I left. It was outstanding. It was all about the people and staying healthy and that type of thing. So coming to another organization that did the same, that transition was seamless. But now I'm in a position where I'm affecting change more than my previous organization as a director, so it was a little extra pressure on myself to try to figure things out and realize, we got to get all this stuff done, but everyone's dealing with stuff at home and that we don't even know about. So it was just, like you hear the term unprecedented and everything we went through, but really talked about taking care of the team first, listening, and then serving the community. So it was definitely a challenge and a balance, but I can't emphasize enough how great of a job our team did. And now we're kind of back to reality of almost doing things full bore. We're like, whoa, wait, can we slow down a little bit? And we can't. So it's just something we're always going to look at. But thankfully, at the top of our organization, our leader of the organization has that same mindset. So it trickles down.
It's interesting to hear you of a director coming in during the pandemic.
Yeah.
Now there's
a challenge.
That would be a challenge. All of a sudden you're trying to bring everybody together.
Yeah.
And that is pretty unique. And luckily, you've been with organizations for a while and you could basically manage and knew people's personalities, but you definitely.
Yeah, especially first-time director, too. I'm trying to navigate things, right?
Wow.
And what is it, fake it till you make it? That was it for the first couple months.
Well, you obviously have done a great job, and it's gone well, and your department's doing fantastic.
Yes, thank you.
So it's wonderful. Well, thank you all so much for answering some of these questions, because we are human, and we need to share that and share our hearts and our souls with our fellow colleagues out there.
Yeah.
I'm going to turn it back to you.
I mean,
Anne-Marie.
I'm just blown away by our panel.
Oh,
and you
my
think about,
gosh.
I am blown away, I want to say, by this industry. I mean, I think that you hear now all the things that a lot of people are considering sort of now problems and the buzzwords.
Yes.
And, think about like DEI. And it's not new. These people, the whole park and rec industry has been dealing with it fairly for years and trying to think of ways. Their customers are everybody, the entire community.
Absolutely.
All ages, all races, all
Absolutely.
religions, everybody. And so being able to serve that way and, dealing with budget shortfalls and people shortfalls. And so to those of you who are watching from outside of this industry, I know why you're watching, because this is just an amazing group of people to learn from. It blows me away every time, every week, every
Anne-Marie, I'm telling you, I want to share. We've talked a lot about this as practitioners, okay?
Yeah.
But I need to say to our folks, think about what the industry has gone through that supports us, that we depend on to give us equipment and work with us and develop our capital improvement plans, and think about all that. they've got it out, and they made it, and we have made it,
and done
we're
amazing
gonna,
things.
and we're going to keep getting better. But the supply chain, we're defying all odds.
That's right.
So we're going to do everything we can to keep our industry strong and keep it running as best we can.
Absolutely. All right. Well, thank you all very much for joining us. Thank you to our panel. We know that you come to these shows, you have a finite amount of time.
Great job.
Thank you for being here and sharing your knowledge with us. And thank you, everybody. We will be back in our boxes next month on Zoom. But we want to thank you so much for taking time out of your day today to join us and learn from this amazing industry. We'll see you next time.